A lot of fun on the morning show. We're going to have more fun now in a good way because we're trying to keep these cuties safe. March 19th through the 25th is National Poison Prevention Week. It's a week dedicated to raising awareness about poisons, but people are not the only ones at risk. So joining me now is veterinarian and author of the award-winning children's book, Lizette the Vet. Meet Dr. Ruth MacPete and her dog, Jet. Hello. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. Long time no see.
Yes, thanks for having me on.
It's a reunion.
Yes.
But I love all the products that you have here because these are, common things that we have in the home, and they can be hazardous for our little cuties. So walk me through the different examples that you have.
Absolutely. Well, the first thing that people don't think about is human medications.
Okay.
So human medications are one of the most common pet poisonings that we see. It actually makes up 50% of the calls that the ASPCA's Pet Poison Control Center receives. Wow. And part of it is that if you think about it, these vials are actually plastic and they rattle. So a lot of pets are attracted to them. They may be child-proof, but they're not pet-proof. They can chew these and get a hold of the contents, and they can be deadly depending on what they get. Same thing with asthma inhalers. Over-the-counter medications people need to be careful of as well. Just because it's safe for you doesn't mean it's safe. No grapes.
Yeah, you don't need the grapes,
doesn't mean it's safe for you, your pet. And then same thing with veterinary drugs. So even a medication that's made for pets, if a pet consumes an entire container of it, or you give it to a cat or a different sized dog, that can be bad. So what I always recommend is keep all this stuff out of reach of pets. Never give your pet any medication without first checking with your veterinarian.
Okay, that's really great advice. Can we go to the grapes? Because there's a person here at the station, I'm not going to name who it is, and we talked about this, and she had mentioned that her dog got in some grapes not too long ago. Luckily, the dog was fine, but that is dangerous.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that grapes and raisins are toxic.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
obviously, that makes sense.
Yeah, so you need to be really careful with those. A lot of times they're around. You could see Jet was checking them out. Another thing, chocolate. I know we mention this all the time, and most people know it's toxic, but because of the holidays, we see tons of, again, chocolate toxicity. These Easter Bunny eggs, all the coins, all of that stuff, you need to keep it out of reach of pets because they can get a hold of it, and we still see it all the time, usually, again, because of accidents. The other food that's a concern are any of the sugar-free products that contain the sugar substitute xylitol.
Okay.
So sugar-free gums, candies, desserts, anything that has xylitol in it is, again, going to be toxic to pets and can be deadly. So just keep all of this out of reach and make sure your pets don't get into anything.
Like, just keep all this out of the house entirely.
I have to mention flowers because that's really a big one. So a lot of times this time of year, everybody's bringing flowers in for the holidays, for Easter and Passover. You may get flowers. It's really important that people know that a lot of these are poisonous to pets and can be deadly. This plant right here, this flower, the Easter lily, is highly toxic to cats.
Really?
Every part of that plant, so the flower, the pollen, the leaves, the stem, can be toxic. It causes kidney failure and death in cats. It's found in almost every bouquet. So I always recommend that if somebody gives you flowers and you have cats, you look at that, pull out those lilies before they come in your house and throw them away. Because again, it can kill your cat. And a lot of people don't know that. Lots of other plants as well. Just be mindful. My tip is don't bring anything in the house if you have pets, especially cats, unless you check to make sure that it's not poisonous. So that's the bigiggie there.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we have some other products here as well.
Yeah. So household cleaners, just, any household cleaner can be poisonous if ingested or licked. We have to remember that our pets are walking on the ground, and in the case of cats, they may be walking on a counter. So if you're cleaning, I always recommend that you put your pet away out of that room until it dries, because if they walk on a wet floor and then lick their paws, they have just ingested that toxin. So that's the big thing with those. those and keep them out of reach. And then with rodenticides and insecticides, you need to be really careful. Rodenticides specifically can kill a pet. They're designed to kill rodents and to attract them, and they do the same thing with our pets. So I highly recommend not using those if you have pets, or use a pet-safe alternative instead.
I feel like I haven't said much because I've learned so much. I'm a new puppy owner, and you know, my husband and I, we knew about the grapes, we knew about the chocolate. I mean, the assumption is you keep your medications away, but I mean, if they fall down and your little pooch gets a hold of them, and
people,
the
get them in
plant, I mean, the cat with the plant, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
So what do you do? What's the best case scenario for you if you do catch your pet starting to kind of, you know, get into this stuff? What should you do in that moment?
If you notice that your pet ate something they shouldn't have, or if they got a hold of something, sometimes the medication's in people's purses or backpacks, and your guests leave it on the floor, and that's how they get it. If you notice they got into something, do not wait for symptoms to appear. Call your veterinarian or local emergency clinic right away to find out what you should do. Sometimes, depending on the dose, it may be okay. Other times, they may tell you to come right away, but time is of the essence. Definitely don't wait. Call your vet.
I'm so glad you came. I learned so much. Thank you so much for joining us. And for more information about Dr. Ruth and also pet safety tips, please visit her website, drruthpetvet.com. And you can also find all of this information by going on our website, kcalnews.com, and click on the Seen on TV section. Oh, I'm so informed now.
They can follow Jet too.
Oh, you can follow Jet on social media. If you didn't look at his little face.
Monkey Dog Jet.